Hello, my name is Robbie. I work in Dallas office and wanted to show you a workflow how you can utilize the revision clouds in Revit to record information, and at a later date when you need a summary you can export out in like a fraction of a minute. So let's see how we work on that one. In this project Revit 2017, what I have is these clouds are utilized for CA work, and any kind of changes were made has been recorded. So the person who was making changes to this kindly recorded or chose to record the information on the comments section here. So you can read added elevation tag for delivery 108, and then you select another one, then you have another information. The good thing about this is each element has a ability to record comments as an instance parameter, so you can have as many clouds as you want and then record the information that you're trying to do. This is a revision for sequence 2 addendum 1. Okay. Also, as a side note, what you can do is if there is an RFI or other kind of extra kind of information to attach these comments to, then you can always go here and type in your RFI numbers there. So we can say RFI number 100, for example. And then this is the response to that one. So that kind of um, recording you can do. Okay, so once that data is there, a Gensler tool has a tool that's called Manage Revisions, or you can use a BIM link in that matter to export the revisions out. So in my case, I'm going to use the Gensler tool, which is very straightforward. I want to go out here, and then you can see the information has been recorded here. And this is the RFI that I just marked. Unfortunately, this isn't really, not unfortunately, but you can see this hasn't been using the mark value. So that one is a unique one for me right now. Once I know what's going on, this is also a portal where you can quickly kind of scan through your comments and other things, and you can see like detailed numbers, and sometimes you have this object but it doesn't show up anywhere. So you may want to investigate why it's like that, or maybe it's the way it is, and then you double click on it. It also takes you to that revision wherever that existed. So that's a cool feature this revision manager allows you to. By double clicking, it takes you to that point. Okay, so that's a good feature. And then go back here, you export the Excel data, and I will pick here as a file to show, and I will save that. Typically you will save this in your project folder, but this demonstration I'm saving it into my desktop. Don't save things in desktop by default. Okay. Okay, so once the data is out from Revit, I have exported into my desktop. You should not practice exporting into desktop, your project folder. This dialog box says it's unsafe, but really it should be okay, so you go there. Excel by default comes in with extraneous information here which you need to format, and this is definitely not ready for printing purposes or reporting purposes. So what we'll do is convert this data into more logical form. To do that, I want to convert this data into a structured data which table provides. So in Excel, to convert this data into a table format is very easy. You select the first cell A1 and go to format as table and pick any one of those. So I'm gonna go pick this medium width style table, and then it will auto detect all the range of the data and also indicates that my table has header, and yes, this are the headers for my columns. So I'm gonna go do okay. So columns are the header and the rows are the information. As you can see, this black really didn't work, so I'm just gonna change that to something else. Better for word printing later, it might be a good idea to kind of stick with something like simpler form. Okay, well, again, this is not important here because we will use pivot table next. So this data is still in a tabular form but not useful at all for reporting purposes. So what we will do is go to insert tab and create a pivot table. For the pivot table, when you click, it automatically also detects the table 1 is already created there, and I want to create a pivot table in a new worksheet. I'll just do OK. Then that will pop up, and what you can see here is pivot table is a little icon there, and everything else is back here in the columns. So when I take a look here, the information that are really important is the sheet number for this demonstration, and sheet number, comments, and the detail number on sheets. Everything else, I just don't want to use it. Or sometimes it might be easier to use sequence number or like a owner's view, because this will truly mean what sheet number or what view the comments are. So I will let you figure that out later. But for the comments, or if you have more questions to talk about owner view, please call me or reach out to me. Um, in this example, I'm just gonna go show you sheet number, comments, and the detail number of sheets. Okay. So back here on my sheet 2, where my pivot table is, I would like to select the sheet number. So here's when I select it, then you can see all those things getting populated there. And I would like to select here detail number of sheets and um, comments. So with those, my information is now in some kind of um, format, but that's again not super readable or very tedious or long to kind of print. So we will format this in a little nicer form. Okay. First thing I notice is this have these collapsible buttons, which I do not want to see. So I'm gonna go right click here and go to pivot table options. That's a property under display, so you can just uncheck show expand collapse button. Do OK. Then that's gone. I do not want to see these total because they don't make sense in the kind of data we are presenting. So I'm gonna just hide them or uncheck them. Um, and a little bit more structure is there. So what I want to do is Excel is great in tabular form, so I'm going to change this to data to like this, the way they are in a tabular form. Right now they are in the layout and print tab here, display as a outline form. Instead of that, I'm going to show them in a tabular form. And there's a choice if you want to repeat, but I don't see why you would want to do that, and do OK. So that kind of looks a little better. Same thing with this data here. I'm gonna go field settings and go to layout and print and show item levels in tabular forms and do OK. So now you have a little bit more structure to how you see the information. Like this one is an information on its own, and this another information on its own. So kind of see a little bit difference there. What I want to do is I'm gonna go to this item and actually layout and print. I want to insert blank line after each item level. Okay, and that's okay to show them in an outline form. Do okay. Then as a matter of fact, I might want to do on this one here. So if I select here fill settings, then go to same thing here, insert blank line after each item level. So that way you have a little extra space between these, which will look better and readable in the way that is. Okay. Also, what I want to do here is format this a little better. So if I go to design tab, and then there are these different ways you can format. So if we drop this down, you can see how it kind of previews some of these things, and maybe that banded look might look better, so you select that one as your choice. Some of these cells are way out there, so let me go fix that, and then just rearranging it kind of helps later in the Word document. It's a little bit better. And also I want these to be wrapped, so wrap text as an option. Select that column and wrap text. Okay, a little bit more structured. Now, couple of things to note, you may also want to do the same thing with this here as inserting a blank line after each item level, so they are not as crowded looking. Okay, so that's your format of data that you would want to eventually be printed in a report. I also notice there are a bunch of sheets, like you may not want to see that kind of sheets. Then the pivot table comes with filters, and that filter is this drop down here. That's your filter. Right now row labels kind of is weird, so I'm gonna go to sheet number. Okay, then back here I can drop this down and uncheck like the blank sheets. I don't want these weird text. This is something you may want to go check your Revit project itself and kind of manage that. When I do that, then that gets filtered. And if you want to also filter this, then you can go here and pick if this is this, like you don't want anything blank, or um, if there are like some of the inconsistencies in some numbers, or this might be a good way to kind of see something is odd. Like for example, 1 maybe should have been read as 01, or 01 is already there, so why does that 1 exist? So those are the kind of quality control check you can do. Okay, I'm gonna go do okay there, but the point is whatever you select, that button becomes the filter for that data. Okay. So once you have this, then what I want to do is use Word to print this. So I'm gonna go select this data, scroll down here until where my revision data is, so I can see over there up to demolish. Hold shift and select that um, last row, or in my case the architecture row, and I will do Control C to copy that information. Open Word, and then show you a blank document. Then you can say like comments, summary from Revit for this example. Okay, so I can do that, and then I can go paste that value. So when you Control V, it comes as a table information that you can now nicely print. Yeah. With table, it comes with this extra space back there. So what you can do is either drag this in. That didn't help. So I'm gonna go all the way to the top. And there's a little marker here that indicates the table is way out there. So to determine that, you click one of the items in table, and you can see this little marker here. You can always reduce the size of the view, and then this marker will be visible. So if I drag this out, then I can kind of nicely format whatever extent I want to. Okay, so once this is done, the only thing I will do is see how the headers are not repeated. So I'm gonna go select again one of the first one here, sheet number or comment. Right click table properties, and there's a under row there's a repeat as header row on the top of each page. So I'm gonna go do okay, and when I go to the next page, then I can see that nicely repeated. Okay, here also there are a couple of things you can do. You can select that, and you can go to kind of change the design if you would like to. Then this is also an opportunity to kind of reformat it, and as you can see there, it adds a little bit extra banding, if you would, which Excel did not provide me earlier. So with that, you can format this however you want and PDF out. Also, point to note is the spelling check Word does. Uh, that means the information that you have in Revit are wrong, so you can take a look at it and then go fix Revit, or you can just adjust it here and fix in Revit immediately later. That's all I wanted to show you today, and thank you.